Red, green, and yellow zones, the zones of regulation, and how to handle the practical everyday tantrum from a teen or a toddler. Hey ladies, I'm back, and today I was inspired to share a practical, real-life example of what it looks like to handle the red, green, and yellow zones. So this is a concept that I taught in the Understanding Your Child's Behavior mini course, which is now closed, but we will be reopening it in the future, and I will let you guys know that when that is open. But until then, actually, if you go to mamasincontrol.com/sign up, it still looks like you can sign up if you hit on the red button, but then it will bring you to a page where you can get on the wait list. So if you want to be notified when that opens, just again, head to mamasincontrol.com/sign up and just follow the steps there. But in my own life, if you're not familiar or you don't know, I have 3 boys. They're 14, 9, and 6. And it doesn't matter what stage your children are at, it's the same concept. And their behaviors are constantly changing. So I'm driving, by the way, so if you hear background noise, that's why. Hands-free, recording hands-free, but this just happened in our house, and I thought it would be very beneficial to explain to you about the red, green, and yellow zones, which I'm going to link in the show notes, the previous podcast that I did on the red, green, and yellow zones. So check out the show notes. You can check those out on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you listen to the podcast. And we'll have a link back to the other episode or the number to go check it out. So I'm not going to explain what red, green, and yellow zones are because the last podcast that I'm talking about explains that. But here's the thing. In a nutshell, a red zone is when you need to stop. The red zone is when your child is having a tantrum, a meltdown, when they're angry, when they're frustrated. And as adults, we also have red zones. Those are when we are angry, we are frustrated, we're fatigued, we've just had enough. It's like, I gotta go to bed, or we're exploding and we're, projecting, and we're just angry, like frustrated, annoyed. And all humans have these stages, these emotional stages of regulation. So we all have a red zone. Even if you are the Dalai Lama or Oprah or me, I have lots of red zones. We all have yellow zones, which are those moments before we explode, which are the moments before we're annoyed. And we all have green zones, like the good days when we're all feeling, awesome, fine and dandy. But here's the thing. The number one tip that I tell people is you do not solve problems in your red zone. That is when you need to just stop, just like a stop sign. You need to stop, you need to move away. So tonight at dinner, my oldest, we were all upstairs eating dinner, and he got his braces adjusted today. So I automatically know that he is either in a yellow zone or a red zone today because he's going to be in pain. He's typically in pain, the day of. If you've ever had braces and had them adjusted, it's extremely painful. So he's, it takes about 2 or 3 days for the pain to go away. Tomorrow and the next day are probably going to be really, really bad. So I know that these 2 or 3 days, typically he's not in a good mood and he won't eat a lot because his teeth hurt. And even if I say, have a smoothie or whatever, he's a bear. Like, don't poke the bear. So dinner was tonight, and I kind of remembered that he had his braces this morning because his dad brought them. But I didn't put 2 and 2 together because I literally remember looking at him going, oh, he had his braces tightened today. I'm like, he's not reacting. Like, the pain must have not kicked in yet because he was eating. And so we had like roast and salad and corn or something for dinner, and he's eating and he's fine. And then I go downstairs and I'm going back upstairs, and he's coming back out, and he's like, Dad's a fucking asshole. And he slams the door, and he just proceeds to go by me. And I, in that moment, went from a green zone immediately into yellow and then red. So my yellow zone was like super, super small. But here's the beautiful thing. Because I do the work that I do, on myself. Not saying because I teach this work, because we all teach what we need to learn. So just know I'm not perfect. But because I have like really good self-care practices in place, because I don't want to lose my shit anymore, because those days were not pleasant, I did not react. I actually did say, "What's wrong? What's going on?" Like with a loud voice, because he slammed a door and that triggered me, because it was like, "Excuse me, that is my door. Don't do that." But old Heather, I would have chased him down the stairs and I would have screamed at him and I would have said, "What the F do you think is wrong with you? Why are you slamming doors in this house? That is not how you treat our house," right? But I held on to my emotion, my trigger, my anger, my frustration, and I sat with it. And I sat with it for 10 seconds, and I, in my head, turned it around, where I said, "Okay, Heather, he's not disrespecting you in this moment. He's not disrespecting you. He's not disrespecting the house. He is angry and frustrated because he is most likely in pain." I didn't know why he was in pain, but I knew he was in emotional pain, and he was blaming it on my husband, which often they butt heads. So went upstairs and I said, "What happened?" And I said what happened in a very calm voice, like, "What happened?" And I could tell that my husband was in his yellowish red zone, so almost like an orange zone. And he said he didn't want to eat, and then he was about to scrape the food in the garbage, and he was going to make himself something else to eat. Well, any parent, that would piss off, right? You slave to make dinner, and the child starts to eat your food, and then doesn't want to eat your food, and is about to throw it in the garbage, and then make their own dinner. So I was like, okay, it could have been the tone, it could have been something. It most likely was my son projecting his anger onto his dad. So he went down the stairs and was angry. He's in his red zone. And I went up to him and I said, "Honey," like now I'm talking to my son, "what's going on?" "Nothing, I'm fine." Clearly, he's not fine. Red zone behavior is not fine. That is the child saying out loud, "Something is wrong. I am not in alignment with how I want to feel." But here's the kicker. I said, "Okay, cool. We'll talk about it later." And what I decided to do was leave, because I'm leaving. I have an appointment that I need to get to, and I thought this just happened, so I'm going to pre-record this now, and then you guys will listen to it on the podcast when it gets put up and scheduled. But here is the thing. I've had to spend years getting to this point in my own personal, emotional strength and development and parenting. And too often I see people try something once and say to me, "It doesn't work." And that is when we're looking for the quick fix in life. "Oh, I ate one healthy meal. Now, my blood sugar should be fine, or all the weight should just melt off of me. Or I went to the gym for a month and, shouldn't that be enough? Or I took a 6-week program. Like, why didn't my life transform?" But you have to realize that your life is a practice. Your whole life is about micro action. Your whole life is about testing things and throwing noodles at the wall and seeing what sticks, and then reassessing what worked, what didn't work. And if you're not doing that in parenting, you're doing it in business. And if you're not doing it in business, you're doing it in your relationships and with your health and everything. And so the red, green, and yellow zone, there I am going, "Oh shit, he's in his red zone. I'm in my red zone. My husband's in his red zone. I have an appointment to go to. So I'm going to go to my appointment. And then when I come back, my son and I will talk, and I'm going to say, what was going on? And he's going to say, I'm in so much pain, Mom. Or there could be something else going on. He's like, I'm in so much pain, Mom. My teeth hurt. And, I'm like, great, awesome. Let's take an Advil, or let's put some essential oils on you. Like, go to bed, whatever. Do what you got to do to manage your own emotions. But that does not give you the right to take your shit out on other people. And so it's when we circle back to those moments in the green zone when the magic unfolds. Because that's where you develop communication. That is where you develop those life skills that nobody else is going to teach you. You don't learn this shit in school. You only learn this stuff when you need to learn this stuff. So that is a practical application of the red, green, and yellow zones. So to put it in a nutshell, everybody is allowed to get angry. Every single human being on this planet has a right to be in their red zone. Nobody should take that away from them. They're allowed to be angry. They're allowed to be sad. They're allowed to be frustrated. Let them have the space to do that. Don't try and take it away from them. And it will trigger you. If you don't know how to manage your own anger, it's going to trigger you. Because you're like, oh crap, this anger is being mirrored at me, which is why I always preach that it is so, so important for parents to realize that they have to do their own work in order to teach it to somebody else. So, it's okay to have a red zone. You're not here to solve problems in your red zone. You let everybody calm down. You walk away. You bite your tongue. You don't say anything. You wait till you and your child are back in your green zone, and then you talk about it. What was going on? What happened? Now, if your child is a toddler and they're not yet talking, because I get this question a lot, it's your responsibility to observe your child. And sometimes you'll have answers and sometimes you won't. But you'll say, why was my child in the red zone? What was it that made them frustrated? What was it that made them angry? Were they hungry? Were they tired? Or, I don't know, were they possessed with the devil? What was it? And sometimes they're just angry and that's okay. They're processing emotion, and then they fart and then they smile. And that is okay. That is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Part of the human experience is to feel the joy and the grief, the happiness and the sadness, the light and the dark. We have to experience both in order to have our quote-unquote balanced life. But if we haven't really felt the depth of pain, how the heck are you going to know what joy feels like? So red, green, and yellow. I hope this was helpful, and if it was, send me a message on Instagram. Head on over to Instagram and check out Mom is in Control and send me a private message, or you can email us at support@heatherchauvin.com.